Mr. Sehnert, through the Community Action Commission, HATS, the Hancock Area Transit Service, provides on-demand public transportation. Would you support an additional element of public transportation for the community in addition to what HATS already provides?
I'm not sure if the city, I'd have to look at the situation and see what that would cost. I know the city tried that about 30 years ago. They had an old school bus that went around in the area. It didn't last too long. Of course, that's an expense that the city would have to come up with, more employees and that kind of things. I think that the private sector, like HATS and other people, can handle that with the size of Findlay. I think that that would be better held through private sources.
Mr. Knopf, your thoughts on additional public transportation programs?
I'm not really sure if the city should get into the transportation business, but I do believe it's a good idea to look at further. I can see that there are people here within Findlay who don't have access or readily, available access to a car to get from one place to the other, or they might not be able to afford one, in general. So I think having like a trolley system, I'll just say that. Going from all points north, south, east, and west that converge downtown would be a good idea to look at further. It would help people that don't have the means necessary to them. It actually might draw people out and actually back into downtown if they know that they don't have to worry about finding a parking spot. So I would look at it further.
Our next question. Findlay's current sidewalk policy requires property owners on primary roads to pay for installation of sidewalks. Do you think that's fair? And what changes would you support in the sidewalk policy? In particular, how would you pay for sidewalks, both construction and maintenance?
That's a lot of questions there. I think, and I'm going to go back to about 10, 12 years ago where, the sidewalk, issue was put on a ballot. And the people of Findlay decided that if the city wants sidewalks throughout town, that the city should pay for them. I agree with that, not only because the voters already decided on it, but if a property owner is going to take on all the liability, the liability of maintaining those sidewalks in good condition, of clearing them from snow when we do have blizzards come through the area, that the least that the city could do is install those. Now, as for paying for them, well, like I said, 10, 12 years ago, this issue was already decided, and there's been no action on it since. So I'd like to go back and say, well, we'll look at it further. Is it still really that much of an issue? If so, let's put it back on the ballot. Let the people decide, do we need these sidewalks? And if so, who's going to be paying for them?
Thank you. Mr. Senator, the same question about Findlay's current sidewalk policy requiring property owners and so forth to pay for maintenance and installation. Do you think that's fair? What changes would you support, and how would you pay for sidewalk construction and maintenance?
Well, the sidewalk issue's been around since the Pilgrims stepped off the Mayflower. So I really, there's a present ordinance in hand right now, and I agree with it because those people put a lot of time and effort into that. And until something else drastically would come up, I support the current ordinance. One thing about the sidewalks, I know talking about paying for them, was brought up about the estate tax, using the estate tax to pay for the sidewalks. Perhaps that might be something we could look at, taking a percentage of this estate tax and putting it towards the repair of the sidewalks and things of that. However, then again, we had the question before, if we don't have the estate tax, the sidewalk issue becomes a different issue. So I support the current ordinance.
We've mentioned taxes in just about every question, but here's the T question. How do you feel about raising taxes in general? Do you think city taxes are high enough now? Are there circumstances under which you would support a tax hike? Mr. Sehnert.
Well, I got conservative values, so I don't think taxes is the last thing that I look at to raise. I believe that I'm a taxpayer just like everybody else. The taxes, of course, pay for all the good things that we like, and we all like to enjoy the good things. Sometimes we don't have enough money, and I think it's up to the people to decide what taxes. Findlay is noted for its low taxes. We have a low income tax, we have a low property tax, we have low income tax, and we want to keep it that way. And I believe that any increase in taxes should go through the voter.
Mr. Knopf, are the city's taxes high enough? Are there circumstances in which you would support an increase? And what about your feelings regarding taxes in general?
Well, like Pete, I'm sort of a conservative on that. I feel that the tax rate here in Findlay and Hancock County is just right. I would not go into office if elected with any mindset of or determination to raise the city income tax. I too would rather look at scaling back programs or seeing where money could be saved within city government before even considering the option of raising taxes. I'm additionally opposed to it, considering as a property owner myself, every time that there's a levy passed that is put before the voters, you can only ask people to pay additional money per year before the thought enters their mind of picking up and moving out to somewhere else, moving out to the county where those levies don't matter, or moving out of state where the tax may be lower. So I would actually go into office without any indication or inclination actually to raising the income tax.
Our next question